Hey guys, it's Dee Dee from Healthy Hearing Loss. Welcome. This is all about me going back to school for psychiatric nurse practitioner. I am going to talk a little bit about school. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about some challenges, and the first one is when you go to college, they are tailored for hearing people or people with normal hearing. Some exceptions are going to be like Gallaudet University, Rochester Institute Technology, and these colleges have excellent accommodation for people with hearing loss. Now, with that being said, going to college is going to be tough for anyone, like I said, but it's going to be a little bit more harder or tougher for those with hearing loss. People with hearing loss have to think about obstacles or barriers that are going to keep them from learning the best they can in college settings. Now, a lot of colleges are online, and that's fantastic because you can do a lot of reading on the PowerPoints and doing direct to hearing aid connection for audio, and you can do some speech to text or text to speech, whatever which way it goes. I would love to go to a college that were more tailored to hearing loss people, right? But I can't because Gallaudet is in Washington, D.C., and RIT is obviously in Rochester, and I am not living anywhere in those areas, so I have to go to a college in my area here. Now, I have realized the importance of letting people know about some accommodations I need for school. Now, I'm going to share some of my positive experiences up to this point, and reasonable accommodations coming up. So the first thing I want to point out is that my classes started online. So I was able to come up with some strategies to make it a little easier for me to hear while I'm online. And one of the most important things is be able to stream directly to my Bluetooth hearing aids. The thing I want to mention about hearing aids is that they are essentially earbuds or headphones to a hearing person. You put them in your ears and it's all isolated to your ears. But the benefit of doing it through your hearing aids is that you go through your own program that was put in there by your audiologist. So you'll be able to hear all the frequencies and loudness, all that kind of stuff better when you can connect directly to your hearing aids. They are not amplifiers. Hearing aids are not amplifiers like earbuds or headphones are. Those are for people who want a little bit more surround sound, or they want to reduce the background noise and they want a little bit of control of how much volume they can put into their ear. So that's just raising up the volume of the sound that you're hearing. But for people with hearing loss, this is way more than just an amplifier. We are going through our program that is tailored to you by your audiologist. Super important. Now, I don't want to talk much about the audiogram, but I do want to put one up here on the screen because I think it's important that you know that the audiogram represents the frequencies and how loud your hearing aids are programmed to you by your audiologist. If you do not know or understand your audiogram, you want to make sure you talk to your audiologist about that. I'm not a hearing professional, so I don't want to talk about it on this channel. I've mentioned it in the past because I grew up looking at audiograms with my audiologist, so I have a little bit of knowledge, but I am not the expert, if you will. The second thing I wanted to mention about being online is making sure you have the software on your computer that's compatible to whatever the school is using. For an example, I have a Mac computer and I do not have Microsoft software on my computer. So when the faculty member uses PowerPoint, a lot of times I'll lose either a different kind of font, or the PowerPoint will look really funny, or the audio will just disappear from it because it's not compatible to my computer. I use Keynote, and Keynote and Microsoft are not friends apparently. So just thinking about that, if you are planning on going back to school, you might want to consider having Microsoft program on your computer on the Windows or maybe on Mac. You can download it on Mac. I'm not going to buy it because it is expensive. You can do web-based ones and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I like Keynote and I like my Mac stuff, so I'm not going to change it. But that just requires me to do more studying through the textbook and rely more on that than actually hearing what my professor would say, which is actually actually a downfall because a lot of times professors will share their pearls, their tips from clinical practice, or just literature that they have researched and want to share with you, and that's not something you're going to get in a textbook, right? So I do highly recommend, if you're going to go back to school, is to have Microsoft, Word and PowerPoint and all that on your desktop. Save yourself the trouble and download Microsoft software on your computer. Yeah. And an important thing about online learning is that you want to make sure that you move. I did this during my family practitioner. I didn't move. It was really bad not to move because I sat in a chair for hours on end. And sometimes I would sit in a chair for up to 10 hours. Maybe I get up once or twice to go to the bathroom or get some water. But if you are going to go back to school and it's going to be a majority of online learning, you might want to invest in a stand-up desk. I have one now, and you can see that if I push this button, it's going to start raising up like so, and I can stand at my desk. Otherwise, I can sit in my chair over there, but I'm not going to bring it into the scene, just to give you an idea that a stand-up desk is really, really awesome. I have the Flexi Spot. Yeah, it wasn't that expensive, and I'll put it in the link below in the description. And just a quick note, I am going to go on campus this weekend. And this weekend is 2 days, full days. I have to be there at 7:30, and it goes to about 6 o'clock. This is like hands-on learning. So we're going to be doing psychiatric full comprehensive interviews and practicing that, and it's a little intimidating, but I'm already excited because I want to share with you this letter, or this email I should say, I sent to the faculty before I even started. So my professor looked at the email and said, that shouldn't be a problem. Clear mask, the ability to use my mic when I want to, that one-on-one mic, and also be able to connect my Bluetooth to the laptop so that I could do the Zoom, because some of this practice test was on Zoom. As much as it's going to be intimidating, I have to get ready and dressed up like I normally would if I were going to go to work, because I have looked a little bit professional. So I have to get a little dressed up, business casual. And this is an opportunity to me to actually put faces to the names of the students or my classmates that are online. So it's going to be kind of a fun weekend. I'm going to do my best to record my weekend, although I'm a little nervous, so I might not be able to find the time to actually do it without being all flustered. Maybe the first day I'll just kind of show you what the campus looks like, and the second day I will probably record on the way to school, just to kind of give you an idea what I'm doing, and maybe just talk a little bit afterwards how my experience went. I'm on my way to school for the second day. This is a Sunday. I spent all day in school yesterday practicing cases, and it was actually pretty good. It was a long day. Started off with practice tests. First, you were either a pretend, or I should say, nurse practitioner student who was interviewing the volunteer, and you would have another student with us that would be sort of a mentor there to ask questions to kind of help you along with the case, and then another student was in another room on the laptop on Zoom watching it to kind of, write down a peer review. And then they would put it in a folder, and voila, we get to see what they thought of our interview. And I only did one interview, otherwise I was either a mentor or I was an observer. And so that lasted from 8 o'clock to about 6 o'clock last night. It was a full day. We got to meet with the other students. But the one thing I wanted to mention is that the faculty were super, super kind accommodating. They know some of the reasonable accommodations I've requested. I wrote a letter last week and said these are the 3 things I wanted that I kind of need, and that is clear mask, the ability to use my microphone when I need it, and the ability to connect to a laptop via Bluetooth hearing aid. And I was able to have all of those. The only thing I didn't really have to use is the mask, because they would either have somebody on virtual and they weren't wearing a mask, or they would have somebody sit 6 feet from me without a mask. So that was fine. And but they pulled me inside and asked me throughout the day, how's it going? Anything you need? I mean, I'm telling you guys, I've been going to school obviously for many years. I've had deafness since the age of 2, or since I've been going to school, and I've never been accommodated in this way ever. So I'm like tickled pink when I think about this, because it was always such a fearful thing that they would, I'm turning right, sorry about the blinker, but so I am super psyched that they were able to accommodate me, and I just think it's really fascinating. I don't know. You know, guys, if you're gonna go to school, you know, speak up, let them know things have changed. It's not like the old days where there was a lot of stigma, you know, with people with hearing loss. You can't do this, you can't do that. Nope, they're like, what can we do for you? I'm serious. They're super accommodating now, and I think if you speak up, you will get what you need. In the last 3 years between work and school, my coworkers and my faculty have been just extremely helpful and accommodating. Big word. Keep it in your mind. Accommodate and advocate for yourself. So there's a couple A's right there. Accommodate and advocate for yourself is super important. So I'm going back for my second day at so this is called the On-Campus Intensive, OCI, and it's pretty intense. So we will go ahead and do our second day, which will also be test, you know, practice test. I'm going to interview first thing this morning as a practice test, and then around 3:30 I will be doing my actual competency, and I need to pass this with an 84 in order to proceed to go into clinicals. So they want to make sure that you are well versed in your interview before going to clinical with our preceptor. So that's how it's been so far. I had to update you that I'm like really super happy about it all. Accommodation and advocacy, right? The 2 A's. All right, I am going to go focus on my driving and not do this anymore. See ya, bye. That was my weekend. I cannot believe the positive experience I had. I'm not kidding you. Accommodate and advocate. So advocate for accommodations is basically what we need to do with people with hearing loss. It is super important because you want to be able to learn the best you can, but you also don't want to have a lot of stress when you're in school, on top of not being able to hear as it is. It's very stressful to not be able to hear because you have to put that much more attention into lip reading, facial expression, trying to locate who's talking. It's a lot of work. And of course, everybody knows by now what hearing fatigue is. You get so tired at the end of the day, you just want to shut down, take your ears out and go to sleep. I advise and recommend that you ask for accommodations, get good exercise, get good sleep, and just be easy on yourself. I do want to make one little note at the end here is during the pandemic, anybody that works in nursing or in the medical field like myself, there has been kind of a challenge for the mental health. And the mental health, you know, it's a real thing and we need to talk more about it. So I do want to bring that into the videos as I go to show you how I'm dealing with the mental part of it, because it's important. I still have to work and take care of patients, and some of my patients are extremely sick. They're very complex patients. I work with the most vulnerable patients, and I can get a little stressed out. Moral injury is a real thing out there. There is just so much to talk about, but I'm not going to talk too much about it today. You might hear me bring it up here and there because I want to get rid of the stigma to that too. I'm not only trying to get rid of the stigma to hearing loss and not thinking that people with hearing loss can work in the medical field, but I also want to recognize and appreciate that people are working hard to help people with mental health disorders or symptoms that are happening due to the pandemic, and even just in everyday work life. Right now, it's really vital to make sure that we get rid of a lot of stigma. We are human and we should be able to talk about mental health, hearing loss. There should be no judgment on anything and nobody should be looked down at. We should all be acting very cordial to each other and being good to each other, all right? I love you guys. Thank you for stopping by. And if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see my next video coming up, you know what to do. Subscribe and hit that bell notification. And I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.